Hey everyone, this is Nito King. I'm just playing a bit of King's Quest 1 here. The original, not the EGA enhanced version you've probably been used to. I picked up this test recording in the middle, but all I really did was grab a carrot, 4-leaf clover, and the pouch of diamonds, which is the bare minimums to get the shield. And of course, catching the bird is really, really annoying in this version. Probably help if I set the speed down a little bit, but normal basically runs at the speed of Vax. So I've set it up to fast and cranked my cycle rate down to about 400. Fast basically just goes about as fast as your processor can handle. So I'll jump around a little. This gave me a lot of trouble. Give me a bit of time to introduce the video though, so that's good. Ouch. Yeah, I love some of the things they did in the early days. And there's the mushroom, considerably more noticeable, I think, in this version than the EGA version. But they're really, really picky about where you position yourself. And here's the saving interface. First you pick a directory, then you pick a slot, then you type a name, and then you confirm the whole thing. And now we'll go meet the rat. You're pretty familiar with all this. All we're really doing here is looking at the different graphics. And we get a little closer, and I die. The good news is, you can restore in the middle of the death animation. I just had to check my inventory because I forgot whether I'd gotten the mushroom before or after saving. My memory is really, really bad. And in case you couldn't tell, this whole thing is unscripted, both while I was playing the game and doing my post-commentary. So we'll try this again. And I happen to catch it when he's close enough. Now, in this version of the game, if you walk in here with a clover, the leprechauns just completely ignore you. Alright, whoever's cell phone that is, turn it off. No, that's just the noise the game makes. In the EGA version, you didn't get to see it in the playthrough. You can only use the clover or the scepter. Or the, fiddle, rather. Alright, now that we're out of that place, in the EGA version, if you're carrying the clover when the leprechauns catch you, they'll just poof out of existence, and the king takes his scepter with him. If you play the fiddle, obviously, they poof out of existence, and the king leaves it behind. And in this version, I think it automatically makes you walk through the hole when you eat the mushroom, which is convenient. So at this point, I decided I'd just walk around a little bit and see what kind of stuff I could find. Looking for things I can do to test the shield on. Probably would have been a good idea to bring a map with me. Oh hey, here's the rock where you get the dagger. I'll go ahead and grab that while I'm here. Figure what better test for the shield than a fire-breathing dragon. So we're going to go after the mirror next. I wanted to see if the description of the shield would say anything about it protecting me from harm, but it doesn't. Pretty fancy looking shield, though. This obviously is the tree where you can get the golden egg. I didn't bother with it. Here we go, our first enemy encounter. Here's the wolf. And he just runs away. And that is the power of the shield. Probably the toughest of the treasures to get, but the earlier you get it, the less you have to worry about a lot of stuff. So obviously I'm going after the alternate way of getting past the dragon where you don't cut the bucket off the rope. Unfortunately, I have a little trouble remembering how to get down. And then I just climb down. And notice that in this version of the game, when Graham falls into water, he won't start swimming until you type swim. So he'll drown in a few seconds if you don't. Alrighty, dragon. Let's see how your fire fares against my shield of invincibility. The shield melts, and I die. Okay, we know better than to do that again. So I wander off a different direction in search of the goat pen, or the troll bridges, or anything that'll further me along the quest for the chest, I suppose. And here's the witch's house. Here's another enemy that I don't know how my shield will hold up against. Use the old trick of eating the house. Gives you 2 points, and if you hear the witch talking inside, it means she's there. This time I want to go in. And she just kind of teleports me into the cage. And in this version, she doesn't turn you into a cookie. She just leaves, and that's the end of the game. Alright, so then I wandered around for several minutes and decided just to show you the one highlight of my wanderings. I found the troll bridge. Decided to mess with the troll, and then I realized he doesn't even kill you if you don't have the shield. He just tries to stop you crossing the bridge. So we'll jump ahead a little bit. I spot the witch again, and the secret to getting past fast enemies like the witch, always stay at the very, very edge of a screen until you know it's safe. Which is pretty much never. You just have to learn to recognize where the enemies appear, like here. And for once, the wolf didn't catch me before I left the screen. So we're wandering miscellaneously. There's the door that leads to the land of the clouds. I found that, and I haven't got the key for it yet. You get to see some of scenic Daventry in this. And here's the never-ending bowl of stew. Again, not something I need. But I figure if I can get one of these golden walnuts... In this version, you have to take one from the tree instead of one on the ground. Yet another one of those tiny differences. But I figure once I've got that, I can get across the troll bridge, as soon as I find it. That dwarf is way too fast. And he stole my magic shield. So, back to the house again. And this time I gotta wander in a completely different direction, but I will find that goat. Someday. Ah, the flowers. I know this place. Notice the flowers are about as tall as Graham is. I guess that's supposed to be your clue that that's good soil for planting the magic beans in. And here's the stone bridge. The goat has got to be around here somewhere. I think that's supposed to be a waterfall, not some sort of weird sea creature in that screen. Was never quite sure. And there's the castle, and You can see what Frankomatic was talking about with the drawbridge. That is rather annoying to get across. But the secret is, never walk into that screen from the side. And make sure you've got your trusty map on you. Okay, back where I started. Woodcutter's house. I always used to try to get that axe every time. And then finally I realized you can't do that. There's the stump and the log where we get the pouch of diamonds. And there's the goat pen. It's always in the last place you look. So we go inside, and once you're inside, you always want to close the gator behind you. Use the F3 key to repeat the last thing I typed for quite a convenient way to quickly catch up. What you do is you type what you need to do even if you're not in the right place, then you walk to the right place, hit F3, and you don't have to worry about typing everything in while the action's still going on. It wasn't until King's Quest III that they actually started pausing the game while you were typing. And of course, the remake of King's Quest I came out about the same time as King's Quest IV, I think. So I'll save again, because everyone loves watching people fill up lots and lots of save slots. Not that I'm ever going to go back to any of those old saves again, but it's handy to have them. And here I think I'm moving to the next screen and waiting for it to load, but really I'm just stuck on a rock. Now I'm moving to the next screen. And here's the cave. If the bird shows up while the goat is following you, it stays well clear, but it's already carried me to the island, so it's not going to show up ever again. And I'm getting into some recognizable territory now. Seems like I always go up when I'm trying to find something. And it's almost always one screen to the south. But now I know where the troll bridge is. And at this point I saved again because the plan was to see what would happen if the goat runs over me while I have the shield. But unfortunately I don't think I'm positioned quite right. And the goat just goes right past me. So, oh well, missed opportunity. And we'll meet the gnome. Try to guess his name. You're familiar with this, and of course, everyone knows the correct solution in this version is IFNKOVHDROGHPRM. But that's not what I'm going to type. And he gives me the gold key when I guess the wrong name 3 times. I'm just doing that because the stairs are a heck of a lot easier to get up than that stupid beanstalk. And I almost walked right into the river. I don't know why the heavy titanium shield doesn't protect you from drowning. That's harm, right? Yeah, I don't really know why I saved here. Maybe I was expecting to forget how to swim, but you can just hit equals as the hotkey. And at this point I know that door is somewhere very close by. There's the dwarf screen again. Fortunately I escaped. And here's the ogre that people claim never to have seen. I don't know how you get through this game without seeing him. He's just south of the rock where the dagger is. And I should probably pick it up now, but I'm skipping it. I just want to get to the giant. And here's the door. Typical Zork style passing through doors. Unlock first, then open, then walk through. And the stairs in this version are a very simple, straight, diagonal path, where you must be sure to save because the dwarf likes to appear here. And for once, I actually managed to get away before getting caught. I don't know if I've ever done that before. Which seems really sad and pathetic, but then you realize I've only ever used this route maybe twice before. Every other time I climbed up the beanstalk because I wanted to get full points. Speaking of which, I don't know if you're going into low points run whether it's better to make the giant fall asleep or actually kill him. Make him fall asleep, obviously you get full points, but in order to kill him, you have to get the sling and you have to get the pebbles, and there's points for those too. Probably break even. So at this point, I, for some reason, completely forgot what I was trying to do in this playthrough, and I was trying to get the giant trapped on the one side of the tree. As you can see, the tree is not very well placed in this version for doing that easily. So you gotta come in something like this, and I could probably do it, but then I remember the whole point was to see if the magic shield protects against him, and it does. So now I just stand here and watch the giant randomly walk around. I think he's trying to leave the screen because the magic shield was effective, but he can't leave this screen, so he's just kind of stuck there on the left side. That or they just really didn't have very good AI back then. And it's in fast speed, which I think makes it take not quite as long for him to get tired. There you go, all of a sudden he just starts walking straight to the right, because in this version he falls asleep right where I'm standing. And I can grab the chest and get out of here. And at this point, I think you've seen pretty much everything that Frankomatic didn't show you story-wise, so now, if you keep watching, it's just to see the differences between this version and the one that he showed you. And me not able to spell down when I'm trying to type the name of my save file. But then I figure, who cares? I know what it means. And then I put the N on there anyway. I'm kind of like Monk, but I don't wash my hands quite as often. And the stairs are a little tricky to negotiate, but again, just a straight diagonal, as long as you're using your numerical keypad and the diagonal keys, absolutely no problem. So now it's just a pretty quick run over to get the magic mirror, and I can beat the game. Once I remember where the stuff I need to get the magic mirror is. And of course we have to avoid the dwarf. That's the sorcerer. As far as I know, in this version, he freezes you, and nothing ever happens until you unfreeze. Some people say he appears in the same screens as other monsters. I've never, ever seen that. And the ogre again. You notice there's flowers growing here. You can actually plant the magic beans here. But I think you have to have the magic shield, or possibly the ring of invisibility so that it'll leave you alone. The ring, of course, I didn't get in this playthrough. You have to rub it in order to turn invisible. Just putting it on won't do anything. And in this version, if you take the ring off again, you lose it. Might be that you only lose it if you've actually rubbed it already. Either way, now I'm just showing off. And I have no idea why I decided to walk in this direction. Just probably to show how embarrassingly close I was when I was actually still at the door. All I needed to do was walk down 2 screens, and there's the rock. Why do I always walk up? So now I'm going to do this in an even shorter fashion. Just sit in the bucket, or rather, enter bucket. And now I can't figure out how to get out. Once again, I just have to keep typing stuff until I hit upon enter water. Swim, dive, you've seen this all before. I don't know if I even recognized those things when I was a kid. In the EGA version, it's a treasure chest. Here, it's a can and a bottle. And the bucket automatically fills itself. So, obviously there's nowhere in this screen where you can fill it. The dragon actually looks kind of cool when it's got the dagger stuck in him. Once again, that's something I did once when I was a kid and figured that out. And then never did it again as soon as I realized you could just throw water at dragon instead. Get a lot more points, and it requires no additional items. And the game slows to almost Vax-like speeds yet again as I make my way out of the cave. Just can't handle the dead dragon sprite and Graham. And this is how you escape from the well if you haven't used the water on the dragon, because he doesn't move the boulder out of your way. I never ever figured out how Graham manages to get to the rope from in the water. And I know Mario 64, I think, was the first game that actually let you jump up out of the water to get to stuff. There's probably other games that have done it. Like Crackdown, Prototype. And I think this is just hilarious. The wolf never even gets close. So I figured the easiest way to find the castle from here is just keep going east until you hit the garden. And then you go south. And I don't know what people are always talking about with these bridges. They're actually really easy to cross. The perspective is totally wrong. And in this version, you actually have to go through the prologue stuff yourself. You open the door, you get a point. You go bow to the king, you get 3 points. And if you do that at the beginning of the game, he tells you about the 3 treasures, and you have to go and find them, and so on. So that's 4 points that don't exist in the EGA version. I don't know where the other points came from. And I think you get another point for bowing to him again at the end. And this triggers the ending cutscene. Which is pretty ridiculous. You gotta love that death animation. I'm sorry I ran at such high speed. So then Graham walks up the side of the stairs, and that's it. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed.